early 70s. It was great.
I mean, it was just a real good adventure. Everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. And to have a great album come out of it was a bonus, really.
I think the powerful thing about Machine Head was it came into the American consciousness right as that movement, that guitar riff, that mania for the guitar riff started picking up steam.
We came over here on the back of Rod Stewart and the Faces tour, which we couldn't lose. We were in the second spot position. We could pick the best songs just to hit an audience with like an hour of hard rock and roll. We couldn't lose. It was just a glorious time, and everything fell into place really quickly.
The band was a very live band, full of very good musicians.
Richie Blackmore playing at tremendous solos, the imaginative solos that made Deep Purple special, backed up by Ian Pace's brilliant drumming, because the thing about Purple was they meshed together, musically speaking, instrumentally speaking. They had this great rapport on stage.
Smoke on the Water was just a track, and it wasn't really until we started touring, I think some DJ in America started playing it, and a whole bunch of DJs started playing it, and it was a groundswell, really. It grew from public demand rather than from any kind of design on our part, which is of course the best way it could have been. And it elevated what is really a sort of fairly simple track into, mythic status.
It just goes to show that what's a hit record and what isn't really doesn't have anything to do with the content of a song. It's more about who's hearing it the most on the radio. That's why I'm very skeptical about what's a hit today and what isn't. And people, I think, mix up popularity with success. I think to be successful, you have to be a good musician. To be popular, you have to just be fashionable.
Deep Purple's reputation was based on their performance as much as their studio recordings.
They were hugely successful. I mean, album sales were enormous then, and they were in huge demand for concert tours around the world.
Their popularity, especially in America, was way up there. They were headlining in the big arenas, so they needed this album, and it happened just at the right time for them.
Everything came together at the same time. All these talented young artists with tremendous egos and talent to match.
But there was this fear, this panic that if we stopped, it would all be over. And so we kept going and ground ourselves into the dust.
Ian Gillan had given in his resignation about 18 months before he actually left.
Gillan quits Purple, I remember.
What tensions there were in the band that had somehow sort of got buried under the circumstances in which made the album kind of reappeared. The tensions had been there. I mean, they were there in Fireball. There was arguments and friction. And after Machine Head, Richie became increasingly single-minded.
There's an awful lot of things that happen. You go through this, your band is your family, and then you expand a little bit, and all of a sudden, the band is not your only family. There are other things in your life. And you need time to appreciate them and enjoy them, and that we didn't have that time.
Quite honestly, if you look back, if someone said, okay, it's time for a 6-month break, all go away. I think that would have worked wonders.
The reason that Gillan wanted to leave Mark II was just the insane amount of work we were being asked to do.
The incessant touring became tough. It all became a blur.
With the benefit of hindsight, if I'd been the manager, I think I could have kept that Mark together at least another 3 or 4 years. There were solutions to any of the problems.
The big crime to me was that the ballad wasn't put on it. Blind Man.
Yeah.
The one song that's not on the album, but was recorded in that room, was When a Blind Man Cries, which has gone on to have a complete life of its own. And there's a lot of the lyrics of that actually sum up the making of Machine Head. As much as Smoke on the Water is the story of what happened, When a Blind Man Cries, there's a lot of the atmosphere.
And the idea of telling a story based on the principle that there's always someone worse off than you are, no matter how down you are, captured in the phrase of when a blind man cries, you know something's wrong, you know.
I'm a blind man. I'm a blind
Richie, he don't like it.
You know.
My world is pale when a blind man cries. Lord, you know there ain't a sadder tale. Soon.